Good to be here with you. Al Beaulieu in the late 70s was as busy a photographer as you can be. He was shooting fashion for Dayton's and Donaldson.
Right.
He was shooting covers for Minneapolis St. Paul magazine.
Absolutely.
Every cover. He was doing other photo shoots, and then he got a call kind of out of the blue of an artist that you knew of only via your brother and hearing Soft and Wet at a bar in St. Louis Park, right?
Exactly.
And he said, what?
He said, you should call this guy and be a photographer. And I go, I don't know how to do that.
And then how long after that conversation?
2 weeks later, he saw a poster I did, and he called me from Andre Simone's house because Bernadette Anderson, his mother, hired me to shoot The Shades of Blackness, which is in the book. And from that, Prince said to Bernadette, give me that guy's number. So he called me. And, you know, I didn't expect him to always talk falsetto, and Dez can kind of back me up on this, but when he called, he goes, this is Prince. I want to talk to Al Beaulieu. And I went, okay, right?
Yeah, his voice was on the phone very, very low.
Yeah.
Very low.
Right. And I just says, I'll go, okay, you're Prince. So it started there, and then we did our first photo shoot, and I know we could have gotten anybody in the world. And I was kind of bare bones at the time, which means I was just starting out, had a studio. Dez, you were there.
Oh yeah.
And
Our first shoot as a band was with you.
Yes, exactly.
Was that in
A
St.
band, I'd say that, loosely. It was looked like a bunch of homeless guys.
Hey, I gotta say, Dez, I gotta disagree here and I'm so glad that Kurt is here tonight because that show at Sam's, now First Avenue, was that 1980, March 1980 or 81?
Yeah, 80. I think it was 80 probably.
So Kurt opened that show.
Right.
And I remember when you guys, and Al was there, right?
Right.
So it's a thrill that, we're all here tonight, still kicking. But I walked into that place and I saw you guys. I thought you were the coolest band I'd ever seen. My God.
They were.
And Al captured that and went about capturing that.
That's right.
And, Al, it was a wild ride, right? What has your kind of elevator speech been about Prince, your friend and mentor? What was that like being around him and working with him and now?
Oh, it's very inspiring, and I learned a lot from it. I mean, I'm sure Dez did too. I mean, Dez is a great guitar player, legendary guitar player. But we all learned from Prince in his own way because he was such a revolutionary, and he would let us do our own thing, right?
Yes, he would.
And
Because he knows I would have kicked it. No. Just kidding.
Yeah.
He'd laugh at that joke.
He would. And, he let us do our own thing. And it's not like we have these massive meetings about album covers, about, Dirty Mind controversy.
So great.
Or 1999. He would just call me on the phone and goes, I want to be shot on a bed. You deal with that. So I did. And then 1999, I want to be shot on newspaper. You deal with that. Okay, all right. And then 1990 goes, go see Blade Runner. Which I would have done, but there was no internet. There was no cell phones. The VH store wasn't, they didn't have it yet. And it was just in the movie theaters like a week ago. So I just asked friends, what did Blade Runner look like? And they said, neon and smoke. And then when he came into my studio and I had all this neon and smoke, he goes, God, you got it, Al, that's great. So I wish that I would have seen the movie, but maybe it would have been different.
Al, where exactly was your studio on First Avenue?
It was in the Gorham building, which is where their Target Center is now.
Now, to me, that is mind-blowing that all this activity took place at First Avenue and your studio.
Right.
Kind of hallowed ground, not kind of, but hallowed ground for Prince. I mean,
absolutely. You just had to walk down the street, and yeah.
Right. Well, how did you come up with an idea like you flip the bed around for Dirty Mind? That was your art.
Right.
I mean, and he must have really appreciated that. Did you talk? Did you articulate any of this stuff with him?
No, because like I said, on the phone he goes, I want to be shot on a bed, and and I don't mean any by any means weird, but you know, when I'm shooting for Warner Brothers, and this guy calls you to say, you know, you get to do your first album cover, and I was like, oh my God, I almost fell off my chair. I was going, it's my dream to do an album cover. And he goes, yeah, I want to be shot on a bed. So picture that in your mind for a second, right? So I went to this secondhand store, well, not actually recycling center, and I found this bed springs that made a pattern. And he came to the studio and he loved it, and I shot him on that. And then the rest is like history.
Right on. Dez, what did you find with Al? I mean, you worked with a lot of photographers. People have been taking your picture most of your life. What sets him apart, maybe, or memories of those shoots?
I mean, undoubtedly, it was and is his eye. He had, and that's what Prince trusted as well.
Right.
He knew that he could just give you like a couple of words, a small word picture, and you would get it, and you would see it beyond even what he gave you to work from.
Right.
And that was why when I left the band, the only guy that I would let shoot me was you.
Right.
Because I trusted your eye. Because it's one of those things. Somebody taking your picture is like, you're putting your life in their hands.
Exactly.
So that's it. Al just has an eye like no other.
That's right.
Did you have any? I mean, you were saying that's kind of weird, Prince on a bed.
Right.
Did you have any idea of trying to impart and capture that sexuality, and because it's so raw and so great? Were you going for that, or was that just Prince?
No, we were going for that. I mean, he would come into my studio and we would do practice shot. Like you brought Dez one day. Just him and Dez showed up at my studio and we shot probably 10 rolls of film. And because he was shooting for an image or searching for an image. And then we finally
Get on the mic.
one. And Dirty Mind, we finally found one. And because the album before that was the blue one, where he was just a headshot.
Yeah.
And that's what I told him. I go, that's just a
We
headshot.
had a name for that record, but I'm not gonna. No, the picture,
Right.
the picture, because this is just a small gathering. You know how the makeup was like all off, and his skin tone looked like something out of a Gunga Din movie. You know what I'm saying? So we called it the Sabu record because the picture was just all off, and that was just our inside. It's not an inside joke now, but
Right. No, so I wanted to do something that was way beyond just a headshot. And so that's why I got the bed that made a pattern. And then he had the trench coat, that was the first part of that, and the bikinis and the leg warmers and Rude Boy button. And so then it showed his sexuality, then it showed his where he was going. I mean, he could have some of the lyrics like, what did he say in one of them? Am I
black or white? Am I straight or gay?
Right.
And actually, that went back to the tour before the record. There was a moment in the dressing room at the Roxy in LA where he said, okay, what I want to do is for each of us to have a real distinct sort of a visual personality. And he said, I'm going to portray pure sex. That was the first time he articulated.
Wow.
right?
So that's where it went from. That was at the Roxy.
Wow.
We were doing like one of those, all the tastemakers and the kingmakers and the press thing,
Right.
where it's all VIPs in the audience. And that was it. That was the turning point. And then you captured it. Again,
Right.
he trusted you to capture it.
Exactly. And then I captured him from then on out. So that was fun.
You guys tell the story about opening for the Rolling Stones,
Oh, I can't. I'm gonna.
and
I'm
you
gonna
captured
defer to Dez.
amazing photographs from that show that I had never before seen
Well-
until we got to see this book.
Right.
And you guys, this is a glorious book. It's going to outlive all of us, and all these photos are finally between two hardcovers. And congratulations! It's really, really beautiful.
I want to thank Jim for doing the introduction. It was great.
My pleasure. We had a good time talking about it.
But I'll let Dez talk about the Rolling Stones.
Please.
So, in rehearsal one day, one of our managers came in and said, you guys are going to be opening for the Stones on, this whatever upcoming tour it was. The Start Me Up tour, I guess it was.
No, it's Tattoo You.
Yeah, well, whatever. You know, it was this obscure band from the UK. I just thought we can give them a break. So it was one of those things where before we were originally scheduled to do Philadelphia and LA. We had to back out of the Philadelphia shows because of a conflict. Journey did those shows instead. Incidentally, they got booed off the stage, just so you know, which should have been a tip-off. But we had this weird setup where we had a Friday show, day off on Saturday, then a Sunday show. And Mick had handpicked, as he did all the opening acts, he had handpicked, he loved Prince, huge Prince fan. So, you know, we came out that first day, and that was when Prince had started, you know, rocking the bikini underwear and the leg warmers and the trench coat. And there were, I got the head count from one of the security people. There were 5,000 Hells Angels alone in the audience. 120,000 people, 5,000 Hells Angels. They were not fans of the bikini underwear and the leg warmers. So there a few things got thrown that first day, but it was like those, remember those old paper Coca-Cola cups that had like the wax coating on it? It was just that stuff. It didn't leave a mark or anything. But, I mean, Prince hadn't done a ton of shows up to that point, and had never done like a big rock show. So he got freaked out. He left the stage a little early. You know, we kind of muddled through, got off stage. By the time we got backstage, we found out he was gone. My man was at the airport, and he was leaving on a jet plane. He was gone.
I didn't even know this. I had to ask Dez where he was.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was kind of strange. So long story short, I mean, the day off in between, people are scrambling. You know, management calls him, trying to get him to come back. He won't come back. Mick calls him, trying to get him to come back. He won't come back. You know, the manager comes to the door. You know, Dez, you know, he'll listen to you. You need to talk to him. So call him up. We're on the phone for 45 minutes. And flat out, I just kind of put it in the context of, we can't let him do us like this. We can't let him run us out of time. You know, appeal to the manhood thing. So he came back, and like the Sunday afternoon, it was on then. I mean, the thing he didn't know was the Friday, the Stones fans threw stuff at them. You know, that was like a term of endearment. Let me pelt you with shoes. So the throwing stuff wasn't that big a deal, but by the time we did the Sunday thing, it was like, it was on, man.
Right.
It was on. But you know, we did 20 minutes and got through, and it became like the stuff of legend.
Didn't you change the set list?
We did. Yeah, we tried to make it as rock as we could make it.
Like you did Bambi, man.
Yeah, we did Bambi.
I've never heard Prince do Bambi live before. That was the first time.
And it was awesome.
It was awesome.
And there were people loved it. It wasn't, you know, it's turned into this folklore that it was this bloodbath. And there are times it seemed like it, but it really, it went over well, and obviously that's still part of the legend. So.
Well, and
but you
know,
captured it. I mean, some of those photos, I mean, I had flashbacks.
Right.
I started ducking. No.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, that's a lesson for all of us that, you know, here's Prince, middle of his career, and he gets downgraded, at least a little bit. I mean,
It was a test.
It was a test. What did he do? Come back and make the best albums ever. Come on.
Yeah.
Prince. You know, we're all down at some point. You know, you gotta come back. You know, I have anxiety. I have depression. There's sometimes I can't get out of bed. You know, I don't know about anybody else, but I don't care about anybody else. That's fine. You know, but we're all gonna have days like that. But the sun's gonna come up again. We're gonna work things out, and we're gonna be strong, and we're gonna hang in there as long as we can. Right?
That's
buddy?
right. And you're up here now. And it's his moment. Yeah.
Al Beaulieu, preach it.
Yeah. You know, I'm here to tell the truth.
The day Prince died, a lot of your photos were just flying all over the planet.
Oh, they were.
What was that like? And is it a...
It was a sad moment for me, and I'll tell you why, Jim. It's just, he was a friend of mine. And you know, Dez. I was in the inner circle, and he was such a true friend of mine. I cried for a week. You know, I saw all these people at 7th Street Entry or in First Avenue celebrating Prince's life. And I'm going, where were these people before? And that's a different feeling. But yeah, it took me a few weeks to kind of get over that because he was a friend of mine.
Well, you guys literally palled around in your van.
Right.
And I mean, I love the story in the book about you know, going to Hot Licks or Musicland to pick up the records.
Right.
On, you know, Street Date Tuesday, you know.
And he would never pay me back for my. You know,
That's so cool.
Al, go in there and get controversy. Okay. Because it'll look stupid if I run in there. So I run in there, I pay for everything. And I come back into the car and I go, where's my money, man?
Brother still owes me money.
Yeah.
Estate that.
That's just the way he was, you know. It's just like, yeah, just go do it, you know. And then, okay. Yeah. But yeah, he felt bad, like going into record stores, picking up his own records or his own posters or his own stuff. So he'd take me. You do it, Al. And I was happy to do it. Really was.
Al, do you have a favorite photo in the book? A single photo or
Well, there's two. I mean, the mirror photo that they used on microphone and piano, that was my favorite, and Jen's favorite. Where's Jen?
Holding up the baby. Like the scene from
That's,
The Omen.
that's
right
my
there.
girl right there. She's my rock. She's my anxiety partner there back there. Give Jen a hand. Yeah, I can't go anywhere without her. I think people with anxiety know that they need something, either a dog or a tambourine or another person. For me, it's Jen, it's my rock. So, yeah, there's that. I'm sorry, Jen.
where is Jen? Jen, where are you?
Jen's back there.
Hi, Jen. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being Al's Rock.
So,
Where was this
yeah.
photo shot?
That was in Chicago. We were on tour. I think that was the Controversy tour. We actually got some decent dressing rooms then.
Yeah. And that was before things fell apart and we had separate dressing rooms.
Right.
That was the heyday. Because the next tour, you got a little testy.
Yeah, it did. And then I think the other favorite photograph of mine is Prince on the ping pong table, and he's got his finger like this, because that's so unlike Prince. So can you find that one real quick? I bet you can.
Can you?
No.
No? I'll try and find it, but James Loney has a request, and we have to ask you about,
Okay.
on page 11, the whiteface photo.
Oh,
we're talking that
there.
photo right here. Where is that from, and what was going on there?
That's Prince's birthday. And he had a warehouse, if you know where Menards is on 394, it was across that. He rented a warehouse. I think, Des, you were there.
Oh, yeah. Way too many hours.
Yeah,
I think he locked the doors and wouldn't let us out.
yeah, I think he did do that. And so I took that picture. I don't think anybody ate that cake. I don't remember. But is that the time when Prince brought out a wild animal? Or was that the
I
next
don't
one?
remember that. Might have been the next one.
Yeah, the next one he brought out actually a real wild animal. I can't remember what it was because I was scared to death. It was like either a panther or a tiger or a lion or something like that. Oh my! I know. And this is on his birthday, and I'm going, okay. I don't need to picture any of that. So.
But he did throw himself the best birthday parties. Though.
Yes, he did. He remembered June 7th. That's his birthday, June 7th. So remember that.
Al, what happened in this photo, though? Why is it whiteface or is it cake or what is it?
That's just Prince being Prince
Right on.
on his birthday.
Cool.
You want to go into that?
I don't really know why he was wearing whiteface either. I know he really liked mimes, though.
That's it.
Crazy. Another fascinating part of the book is that the Controversy artwork, it was put together with you with a keyliner from Donaldson's, whose name is lost to history.
It is.
She basically made the cover of Controversy and, keylined all those letters and headlines in, and we can't remember her name, can we?
And the lawsuit's coming any day now.
Mick, be prepared for another one, Mick. No, what happened actually is, Prince called me and said, I want to be shot on newspaper. And then I think it was in Nashville, he was doing something for Rolling Stone, and they were reviewing his album Dirty Mind. And a photographer showed up, and he kicked him out immediately, and then called me and said, Al, you come to Nashville tomorrow. I went, really? And there's like this plane ticket waiting for me at Minneapolis St. Paul magazine, or MSP. And I go to Nashville next day, and he goes, I want to be shot like those Playboy ones where they're like looking off, talking to somebody, and I did those. And that took like about 15, 20 minutes, and I took some other shots. And finally it comes to him, he goes, why don't you shoot some live stuff for me like when I'm on stage? And I said, yeah, but you'll be moving and there'll be lights I can't control. And I'm a studio cat. I don't know how to do that. And it turns out I don't. So it was the first concert with Rick James and you and
that's a whole other thing.
and that's a whole nother thing. But then, since they were so busy arguing about having their own tour at the time, he didn't even ask about the photos, and good thing for me. So the next one, I think we were in Atlanta the next night, and this generous, very generous photographer, I said, just show me the settings that you use, and he showed me, so at least I got things in focus and sharp. So it was a start, and then, you get to learn the tricks of the trade, and I think about 2 weeks into the tour, I had it. I was a great photographer at that point, but believe me, at the beginning, it was bad.
Dez, Dez writes a beautiful foreword to the book and talks about kind of like, it was back in the day, and it was before, pre-Purple Rain. What is your favorite part? And that's special to you, right? You've kept that near and dear to your heart.
Absolutely.
All these years. And what is your favorite part of the book that way, that it captured this time in your life? What do you love about it?
To me, that period of time was like indescribable and irreplaceable because it was the beginning of something that no one knew was going to end up being what it was, And Al was like an integral part. It wasn't just that he was documenting something, he was a part of it along with us. So for me, literally some of those pictures I look at them and it takes me back to the moment, because the moment was so kinetic and powerful and deep. And I gotta say this, a lot of people since Prince has passed have kind of jumped up and, tried to stand on his shoulders and impress us all with how tall they are, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the reality is there are people who, along with him, were part of that whole sort of emergence. And Al was a major part of that in terms of how the look and the feel and the texture and the vibe came together. And people can talk about it, but some people be about it. So, you know what I mean? For me, that's what it's about.
Thank you very much. Well, let's get Curtis A up here.
Yeah, we got to have some questions from
Okay,
them.
all right.
Yeah, I got to say, I interviewed Al for the book and for the introduction, and one of the first things we talked about is how much he loves Curtis A.
Yes.
And did you? That's my question. Do you have another book in you? Do you have lots of Curtis A photos? Or
Absolutely,
Rudy
Kurt. You're going to be famous, believe me.
But honestly, you shot a lot of people back in the day.
Yeah, I shot Curtis A. The Damage Is Done, I think was the name of that album. Ever since I saw Kurt when I was old enough to drink, 21, I saw Curtis A. and his band back then, and I thought he was the most talented musician I ever saw. And you're lucky to hear him tonight. He is my hero, my personal hero. So,
Questions from the massive crowd here at the Fetus. Anyone have questions?
any questions? I think they
All right,
need
good
a
night.
microphone.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
What was your craziest photo shoot you ever had with them?
The greatest photo shoot I ever had with him?
The craziest.
The craziest. The first one, because I think it was under so much pressure, and it was the star photo of him in the that's on the cover, because I was so nervous it was Prince. And it's the first time I ever shot somebody of that. I don't know, he had this thing about him, and you know what I mean, star quality, And it just, I don't know how to explain it more than that. That it just, the minute you looked at him, you just knew he had it. He had something, you know, and you were trying to capture that. So I did the best I could.
And you were very worried when you when you saw the proofs.
Yes.
These are bad. These are bad.
Yep. He goes, Al, these are really bad. And I was going, oh no. The first shoot I do with Prince, and he hates it. And he goes, no, these are really bad. Well, you don't have to rub it in. He goes, no, these are bad, man. These are cool. Oh, then I got it.
Oh, bad is good.
That is good, yes.
Awesome. Questions,
Anybody else?
questions.
Yeah. What was the Rick James Prince beef? Was that more speculation or was that legit?
It was the place where insecurity meets egomania, which basically describes every famous person you've ever seen. So no, what it was the beef that wasn't a beef, you know, because it was more each was afraid to be the first one to make a move kind of a thing. So there was a night on the road where myself and Bobby Z went to Rick's room, like, you know, late and just talked and found out that there was no beef. And the next day, kind of, you know, got the two of them together in a room, and they were cool from that point on. So it was, you know, it was just a whole lot of nothing. Yeah, and I loved Rick. Was one of my favorite people. I love Rick. Cool.
We all love Rick.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Cool.
Anybody else?
What's maybe the biggest misperception about Prince from your perspectives, since you guys knew him, you know, well, and there's
That he was short? No, I'm just kidding. Couldn't resist.
Yeah, 6 feet tall. Like,
Yeah.
There's so many. I
Yeah.
mean, by so many different factions.
That's
You
too
just
broad of a question. You need to nail it down a little bit.
This would turn into a week-long.
Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Thomas Smith. I photographed Prince several times in the day. Dad, a few times I saw you with that. Which show stands out in your mind as being the best?
Wow. You know, there were a lot of them. Certain shows kind of stand the test of time better. I mean, honestly, I gotta say, the Stones thing, the first show, before he left the stage, because that first moment, we finished the first song, and that sound, I can still hear it. You know, most of the 120,000 people were really into it, and I'll never forget that sound as long as I live. And then there were some other shows, some really small shows. Some shows are memorable for odd reasons. Like right after we were on American Bandstand, we did this show in Dallas at this place called, I don't know, the Cowboy Place or something like that.
I remember that.
The promoter put us in like the wrong place. And there were like 3 people there. We had more crew there than there was audience. So we went from this mountaintop of, we were just on American Bandstand to, there's nobody here.
But you guys played great that night. I remember that.
Yeah, because we were mad.
A lot of energy.
On the 1999 record, he's got the Revolution written backwards. Was he talking about that back then as far as having that as a band name or?
Yeah, that was, he introduced the name, The Revolution, on that cover. That's what that was about.
Hi, I wanted to know, Al, what brought about the book and why 2.5 years later, or what got you going thinking, I gotta do a book?
Right. I can't talk about all of that with my lawyer in the room, but I just would like to talk about why I did it for the Minnesota Historical Society. And that's because I think that's what Prince would have done. He was from Minneapolis. He made Paisley Park his home. He made Chanhassen his home. He loved Minneapolis. So that's why I went with the Historical Society and the famous Jim Walsh here. And called on my friend Dez Dickerson to do the forward.
And I was happy to do it.
Right.
Thank you.
Honor. It's an honor. Now we'll go sign some books, but listen to Curtis A. for a little bit. He's fantastic.
Al Beaulieu, you guys. Give him a love.